we're talking about how plants help man and animals. So, let's review. What do all living things depend on for food? Plants. The green coloring matter in green plants that enables them to make food is called what? Chlorophyll. Very good. We use certain parts of different plants for food. Name a particular food for each of the following plant parts. Who can name some seeds that we use? Jensen?
Maple tree seed.
Well, to eat.
Oh,
for food.
Watermelon seed.
Well, we don't eat watermelon seeds. Usually we spit them out.
Pumpkin seeds.
Okay. Pumpkin. What else?
Almonds.
Those are actually a nut. They're like a fruit.
Protein.
Yeah. Jen.
Sunflower seeds.
Sunflower seeds.
No, I just forgot.
What about wheat, corn, rice? Those are all seeds. Micah. Don't raise your hand and then think. Think and then raise your hand. Okay, soybeans are seeds. What about stems? What kind of stems do we eat? Autumn? Celery's a stem. Logan?
The broccoli. Or is it?
No, not broccoli.
I was thinking, I don't know if this is real or not. Is root beer called root beer because they use roots to make it?
Think
Jen.
so.
Delicious.
Jen? Carrots? No, actually carrots are a root. But a stem would be rhubarb. I don't know if you've ever had that. It's a pretty big plant, but it has long, almost reddish pink stems and then big leaves on it. But you just use the stem part and you cook it and you can make pies out of it and things. And then actually potatoes are a stem. They're actually a stem. Okay? What about leaves? Those are easy. We've got lettuce and what else? Micah?
Well, I know something about leaves. Leaves make the food for the plant.
Right. Jacob?
Mint leaves will make the chef.
Okay, mint for flavoring. Spinach, cabbage, beet greens, watercress, all those are leaves. Okay, now what about roots? We did talk about carrots. What else?
Ginger.
What is it?
Ginger.
Ginger root, okay. Mason?
Potato.
Well, potatoes are stems, but the exception is sweet potatoes are roots. I'm not exactly sure how it works. I need to study that a little more. But sweet potatoes are a root. Actually, if you notice, like a sweet potato is almost shaped kind of like a football. Okay, and I think that's because it's part of the root.
Some of them are.
But a potato is a stem, and then it has actually has roots that come off of it, out of the eyes of the potato. Okay, oh, I only see 2 hands up. Alex?
So actually, I was in Boy Scouts last year, and we each got a potato, and we got toothpicks and a cup halfway full of water. And what we did is we stuck a toothpick. So we got 2 toothpicks. Here's a potato, and we stuck one right through it, and the other right through it. And then we let those toothpicks. We let them sit on the. We let them sit on the edge of the cup, and we put water in it. A couple days later, then roots started growing out of it.
Right.
And we used the roots to get more potatoes.
Right. Remember in our story, Farmer Boy, before they sold all the potatoes, they would cut up the potatoes for seed to plant. That's what they would plant in the field to make more potatoes, was pieces of potato that each had an eye on them where a new root would grow. Micah.
I have two roots. A beet and a rutabaga.
Okay, good. Beets, carrots, sweet potatoes.
And yams.
Okay. What about flowers? Logan, you mentioned one already. Broccoli is a flower, and what else?
Cauliflower.
Yeah, right. That even has the name flower in it. Cauliflower. Okay, and then last one, fruit. What are different fruits? That's an easy one. Micah. Okay. Autumn. Apples, good. Micah, actually watermelon. That might be.
Watermelon's a fruit. It's a fruit. I think it's the difference between a fruit.
Because that grows on a vine.
There's a type of.
I guess maybe it is. I guess it is a fruit. Okay, Logan. Okay.
It may not be a fruit, but.
Right. Alex.
Dragon fruit.
Okay.
Honeydew.
Okay. Okay.
Apples.
Mhm.
I'm not really sure, but I think it's called a jackfruit. Yep. Yeah, there's a dragon fruit. Look, she said
Okay.
jackfruit.
All right. So all different kinds of fruits. Okay. Apples, bananas, cherries, blueberries. All right. Now turn to page 48. We're gonna start talking about different kinds of trees. Now, there are different categories of trees, and then each category has different trees in it. Okay? Alright, let's keep alright, but the more questions, the longer it's gonna take. Alex? What?
So this tree at the top, actually on Quizlet last night, I was studying weird, and it also showed a tree like just like that.
Okay, good. Yes, Micah.
I know a few trees. I know redwood, pine, oak.
Okay, good job. Let's keep, okay, good. When we have a test, you can get 100 on it. All right, 3.2, we're gonna first talk about needle leaf trees. So these are trees that for their leaves, they have needles. And we have several different kinds on the property we're gonna go look at. So let's just start reading here. It says the tallest plants on earth are
Trees.
Trees are also the oldest living things on earth. There are bristlecone pines in California that may be 4,000 years old. Wow. What makes a plant a tree? Scientists usually agree that all trees have the following characteristics. A tree is a plant with one woody stem that is at least 15 feet tall when mature. So when it becomes an adult, it's at least 15 feet. The stem or trunk is able to stand upright on its own and is at least 3 to 4 inches thick. So that's what qualifies for to be a tree. So let's talk about the parts of a tree. As you observe trees around you, notice that each has 3 main parts. Actually, why don't you get out your journals and let's do a couple little drawings. All right, you don't need to talk. Marissa, let's face forward. That way we're not tempted to talk to our viewers. Alright, I tell you what, we're even going to back up just a hair, and I want to draw something else. This might help you remember these big words. Let's back up to yesterday. Write the word photosynthesis.
Oh, no.
And we're going to kind of draw a little silly picture to help you remember. Photosynthesis. Okay. Uh-oh. What we're gonna draw, yes, Logan.
Is photosynthesis just one whole word?
Yes, good, one word.
Yes.
Okay. So, we're gonna draw a plant making its food. So draw a plant, a flower. Actually, mine's gonna have eyes. Laugh at my flower.
I just like you.
Okay, it doesn't hurt my feelings.
You all are mean.
Okay, so we've got a flower, and we're gonna pretend that our flower, I know it seems silly, but it might help you remember. We're gonna pretend that the flower is cooking. So she's got a bowl here. Oops. Okay. Now, in her bowl, we've got some things that help her make her food. So we've got chlorophyll. Let me make sure I'm spelling this right. Okay, and then they also use sunlight. And I'll write food on the bowl here. Okay, so she mixes those two things together to make her food. The chlorophyll, which is the green matter, and then she uses the sunlight to change the water and carbon dioxide into sugar. Okay? So, and that's what makes her food. We can't make our own food. Plants can. Yes?
On my picture, I drew the sun inside of a turkey and chlorophyll inside of a loaf of bread.
Why?
Because it's pink.
Okay. As long as it helps you remember. Alright, now on to the tree. So we've got 3 parts of a tree. Tell you what, let me read through this and then we'll draw. It says, as you observe trees around you, notice that each has 3 main parts. The crown is the tree is its leaves and branches. The leaves are very important because they make food for the entire plant. At certain times of the year, you will also find flowers or fruit in the crowns of most trees. So, just draw a simple tree. Now, it makes sense that the crown would be at the top, right? Because a king or queen has a crown that sits on its head, on their head. So this is your crown. And then the stem of the tree is its trunk. Which is made of woody fiber. A protective layer called the bark covers the outside of the trunk. You usually cannot see the third main part of the tree, the roots, but the roots perform very important tasks. So, roots. Sometimes. tree in the ground. So we have a lot of trees at our house, and sometimes the wind is blowing so hard. The trees are actually swaying like this, and I think, oh, I hope those roots hold that tree in there, else that tree's going to go flying. But those roots go really deep into the earth. They also absorb water and minerals that the tree needs in order to produce its food. How large do you think a tree's root system is? Look at the crown of the tree. Every tree's root system is at least as large as the spread of the crown. So, for instance, this tree, this crown is this big, so the roots are about that big underneath. So imagine how big the crown is of the tree. That's how big the roots are under the ground. That's pretty impressive. Many trees grow a new layer of wood each year. If the tree is cut down, you can see the layers of wood, which are called annual rings. So annual means every year, like your birthday. That's kind of like your annual Christmas, whatever. That's your annual day that you celebrate. Well, a tree, instead of a birthday, has an annual ring. So you can see the growth. By counting the annual rings, you can tell how old a tree is. The width of each annual ring also tells something about the conditions under which the tree grew each year. If during one year the tree did not get enough water or sunlight, the annual ring for that year will be thin. In a year when there was plenty of water and sunlight, the annual ring will be thicker. So the tree, you can see the history of the tree by its annual rings. That's pretty neat. So let's talk about how we're going to be identifying different trees. So this is where we need to pay close attention. Although trees are alike in these important ways, there are also many interesting differences. Learn to identify several of the most common trees in your area by observing them carefully and looking them up in field guides. Make a collection of tree leaves and see who in your class can find the largest variety of leaves. Most of the trees that grow in North America can be divided into two main groups: needle-leaf trees and broadleaf trees. Palms belong to a third group of trees. So palm trees have their own group. So there's needle-leaf and then broadleaf. So we're going to talk first about the needle-leaf. Trees that have very narrow leaves that are needle-like or scale-like are called needle-leaf trees. Pines, firs, spruces, hemlocks, larches, redwoods, cedars, and junipers are all needle-leaf trees. So is your Christmas tree a needle-leaf tree? Yes. Micah, wait just a minute. Most needle-leaf trees that live in regions that have changing seasons are evergreen. What does that mean, evergreen?
It means they're evergreen.
Yeah, it means they're evergreen. Even in the winter, they're green. Summer, they're green. Fall, they're green. Spring, they're green. They're evergreen. This means that the trees do not lose all their leaves each year. Old needles turn brown and fall off a few at a time, but they are constantly being replaced with new needles. Most needle-leaf trees are also conifers. Conifers are trees that produce seeds in cones instead of flowers. So do you see the root word of conifer?
Do we write it in our journal?
Might be a good idea. We are going to be drawing some different kinds of trees. But the conifer has C-O-N in it, which means cone. Its fruit is a pine cone, which I know some of you have already found down by the playground. You might enjoy seeing how many different kinds of cones you can find and identify. By examining its needles and cones, you will be able to tell which family a needle leaf tree belongs to. Okay, so here are the different kinds of some of the needle leaf trees. So I'm going to go ahead and erase my photosynthesis. So let's start making a list. So the first are your pines. Okay, and let's leave some space here because we're going to draw. In fact, if you want to do one per page, that's fine, or two per page. Yes, Micah?
In the coconut song, it says the coconut tree is from the cocoa bun family. Cocoa bun.
Okay.
Well.
Well. Thank you for that special music. Well, it's in the palm tree family. Okay. So the pines have long, thin needles that usually grow in bundles of 2 to 5. The number of needles in a bundle will tell you what kind of pine it is. So I do want to draw a pine, but I want to go out and gather pine and bring it in, and then we'll draw it in our book. So leave a space to draw pine. All right, the next is hemlock. Now these kind of needle leaf trees have very short, flat needles growing on little stalks on each branch. Each needle is dark green on the top side and lighter green underneath. So they have a picture there of that. I think they have little pine cones, little cute little pine cones. And then a third kind of needle leaf is the fir tree. F-I-R, not F-U-R. Now a fir tree, they have single needles that grow directly on the twig, not on a stalk. Okay, notice how the cones grow on a fir tree. They grow only on the top side of the branch, pointing upward. The short four-sided needles, oh wait, then we're getting into another one. So hopefully we'll see how many of these we can find and we'll bring back. And then the fourth is a spruce. And they have short four-sided needles that grow in spirals on the stalk. Spruce cones grow on the bottom side of the branch, pointing down. Okay, so we are going to, and I don't think, we may do more science later, but for now, what we're going to do is we're going to go out and walk outside after I dismiss you, and we're going to see how many different